What's up, guys? War here. Welcome back to the channel. So today I want to go over the Darth Maul build. We finally did get the Hand of Wisdom in action gloves, but I wanted to go over some things and update this build and just talk about some things for you guys, because I get a lot of questions during the live stream and in the comment section of the previous videos for this build. So and people just have a lot of questions. I try to answer them in the comments. So we're going to go over a lot of things today that kind of hopefully answer all of those and give an update in the changes that I made to the passive tree as well as my gear. So first things first, we are now like in full ES now with CI. So we have Chaos Inoculation now, and this is the build. We got 4,400 energy shields. So with Grim Harvest, we end up getting up to like double this, so over 8,000 energy shield when we're doing maps. We wouldn't have this against bosses because we don't have our 4th Ascendancy. But we made this switch finally to our pure ES build with the Hand of Wisdom in action wraps. So a few things that I want to talk about this is, one is power charges. So power charges are a big question about how this build works. And it seems really confusing for people who are still leveling through with Ice Strike before they actually go into Tempest Flurry. That's one big thing that we're going to answer today. And then the big explosions that some people are having some misunderstandings with about it and how to kind of keep these things going with this ring. So first things first, we'll talk about the explosions. This ring we got at level 12. I've used this from the very beginning. This is the ring that causes the big explosions in combination with your Herald of Ice. Herald of Ice has an explosion radius, and 100% of physical damage is converted to cold. All right, this thing is really good. We have Cold Mastery on here to increase the level, increase AoE for the skill with magnified effect, as well as Cold Infusion for just more damage. So whenever we have an explosion, enemies chilled by our hits can shatter as though they're frozen. So when we chill something in combination with Herald of Ice, we're going to explode all of the enemies. And that's what causes the explosion, is this combination right here. You have to have these. You can still get an explosion without using the ring. However, the explosion is much smaller. Okay, it's not as screen wide. You can do this with other skills, but this ring is solely what we've been using to have these big, huge explosions on this build. So this is one thing that's going to combine, and you can do this from the very start with Ice Strike in the lower levels. And it carried me all the way through the campaign. So Herald of Ice is a must-have for this build, and definitely level it up the highest you possibly can. Now, the Herald of Ice, you cannot get this. It is a aura, so you can't get this until you finish Act 1, Act 1, and get your first spirit. Okay, you get your first spirit here, at Freyhorn, and it'll give you a level 4 spirit gem where you will get your first 30 spirit, and you can use Herald of Ice. The next time that you would gain spirit is in Act 3 of the first campaign. You get this in Act 3. All right. You're going through the campaign. You're going to get it when you go do the, I believe the Sanctum. I believe it's the Sanctum. It's the Bog Witch. Gives you 30 more spirit, which puts you to 60. And then in Act 3 Cruel, you'll go fight the same exact monster, the Bog Witch. And you'll get another... I haven't even done the Bog Witch. But you'll come through and you'll get your other 40 spirit, which will put you to 100. Okay? So once you come through and do this, that's where you have all your spirit. All right. So hopefully that answers how this combination works. Next is how to get power charges. So you rack up power charges a few ways. The first way is in our passive tree. You have to have resonance. Okay, resonance is the way we gain power charges in this build. It is the most fluid and easiest way for us to do this. It says when you gain a power charge, it becomes a frenzy charge. Gain a frenzy charge, it becomes an endurance charge. Get an endurance charge instead of a power charge. Okay, so in combination with, let me go here. Combat Frenzy. This is your second and most important aura in the build. So Combat Frenzy says when you gain a frenzy charge, when you freeze, electrocute, or pin an enemy. Now, our build does not allow us to shock. Like, we can't build up enough shock because shock was nerfed. So we electrocute enemies in hopes to gain a power charge. So whenever we electrocute somebody or whenever we freeze somebody, we get a power charge. So we also have profusion that is added in, so it'll grant an additional charge, which is great on a 50. It's a 50% chance, but it grants an additional charge. So combat frenzy doesn't allow us to shock, but we can electrocute, which is why on Herald of Thunder we have supported skills electrocute primed enemies on hit, and we also have electrocute, the actual support skill, where supported skills cannot inflict shock, but lightning damage from supported skills contributes to electrocution buildup. Now, if you want, you can do electrocute into Tempest Flurry. I'm using Unbreakable for the threshold. I don't know if I need this now that I got the build pretty much online, but this is kind of what I'm doing in the update. And this has been working great. I virtually never run out of power charges when I'm mapping or even fighting a boss. So I think my cap is like 51 seconds. So with Herald of Thunder, we're going to create lightning bolts that are going to give us the chance to basically rack up electrocute, which will then give us power charges, so that way we can put this into charge staff. But in order for this to work, you have to have resonance and you have to have combat frenzy. If you do not have these two, it will not work. You can do this another way. You can consume. There's another skill that you can use to consume it, but it's much slower. This is just passively as you're fighting monsters. Now, one big question that I always get about when players are switching from Ice Strike into Tempest Flurry is because Tempest Flurry doesn't have the natural way to like freeze or shock like Ice Strike does. So this is converted to lightning damage, and this gives us some really good range, but we really don't have a way to shock with this. Or build up electrocution, which is why we have, instead of Unbreakable, you could go put in electrocute. So that way we don't shock, but we can contribute to electrocution buildup. So Tempest Flurry naturally doesn't have a way to freeze or do electrocution buildup like Ice Strike does. Ice Strike can just chill and freeze people right away, which is why a lot of people actually enjoy it over Tempest Flurry. Because you will always get those charges when you're using Ice Strike. Whenever you hit something, you chill and you'll get a power charge. However, I have not had an issue with this. Now, the next part, after you make the switch into Tempest Flurry, is keeping up your power charges. It does seem like I ran out all the time on power charges when I was using them. But when we come over here and we take this node called One with the Storm, this is how we're going to solve this. Quarter salves that consume a power charge count as consuming an additional one. So whenever we get one, it's as if we consume two instead of one, which just gives us more time on a power charge and makes it last longer. And that way you never run out and you don't have to worry about it. If you are using Ice Strike instead of Tempest Flurry, which is perfectly fine even in this build, you don't have to take this at all because you'll always get power charges. So you could save 3 points here. But that is the way that I've kind of managed to never run out of power charges. So power charges can still be sometimes where like I attack some enemies, I got to kill like 2 mobs, and even with the explosions, I don't get a power charge. So it can take a few hits to actually get one, but as soon as I get one, I'm just online and I pretty much never run out. So hopefully that answers your guys' questions on how to get power charges and how the explosions work in this build with Herald of Ice. Combat Frenzy for your charges. So hopefully that helps, guys. Make sure to, if you have any more further questions about this, let me know down in the comments below. So the next thing is the update to the build. So we did get our Hand of Wisdom in action wraps. These things scale the build exponentially. And you can see right here, if I take these things off and I go to Tempest Flurry, I'm at 32,000. I dropped to 20 just because I don't have these gloves on. It's absolutely insane. We did switch to pure ES on every gear piece except for our chest. So we got an awesome ES helmet and an awesome ES pair of boots. Okay, we want increased energy shield on these as well as increased energy shield. The max life doesn't really do anything for us, but it is what it is. So we added those in along with the gloves, and we made some passive tree changes. We added CI, which makes us very, very tanky now because we're immune to chaos damage. And then we did take out these 3 points here. I did leave these in the planner, guys. in the planner. I'll show you real quick. We did leave these in because my next 3 levels will be taking these 3 nodes back. But we decided to take out some lightning damage here, these 5 nodes. And we came down and took all these points up into the sub-mask because we gained 2 evasion per 1 maximum energy shield on equipped helmet. So our ES on here is 328. So we get double that in evasion. So you can see that my evasion rating is 68%. When we take the helmet off, we go to 56. So we gain 12% evasion just on this helmet, which is a huge defensive barrier on this build. However, what I will tell you is that taking these lightning nodes away for all this extra damage, at least on the sheet, and we all know that the sheet is not exactly true based on all of the things that are in the game, but it is something that you kind of base off of. If I add these points back in, I go up to 40,000 DPS on here. It's really, really strong. It's a lot of damage. I'll show you guys real quick. It's a lot of damage if we refund the passive. So if I take this stuff off, right, we take all these points off, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then I go back and add these on. You will see a huge damage increase. I go to 38,000. So it's a little off, but it's a lot of damage in this build. However, we did test it, and you guys are about to see I haven't had any issues with the loss and damage. We've actually just been fine, and my survivability is just so much better. So we made those changes. We've updated our helmet as well as our boots, and all of this will be reflected down in the guide below. So if we come over here to the Mobilytics site, I wish they would update some stuff, but we have 2 variants here. This is the default one. We have the regular gloves in here, so if you guys don't have them. And then we have everything that's updated in here for you guys with all of our jewels and everything. And then the build guide, the planner is updated there. Now, once you're able to switch over to ES gear and you're using CI, then go to updated passes here with CI, and it'll have not only the gloves, but it'll have the changes reflected that we just showed you guys here in the planner for submask. So all this stuff is in here. Also, very, very important inside the tree, when you guys are switching over to pure ES, you're going to be looking for these jewels right here. I found this one last night on a drop, which was insane. 20% max ES shield, and then 13% increased crit hit chance. And then the other 2, you really kind of just are bouncing between a few things. Energy shield recharge rate is fine. It doesn't hurt. And then the ailment thing is cool, but maybe like mana regen is also good. But the top 2 for max energy shield and crit chance are the most important. So until you get to that and you get the gloves, you want to use jewels like this, where you have the increased attack speed and damage with quarterstaffs, as well as accuracy. Just makes it feel really, really strong. So yeah, guys, this is the update to the build. I wanted to kind of cover a few things and just kind of break down how the explosions work with the Sapphire Ring as well as Herald Device, and then how to actually get power charges, because people have a lot of questions about why, as soon as I switch to Tempest Flurry, I'm not gaining charges, and it just seems really tough for them to maintain them. But believe me, whenever you come over here and you take this node 1 with the Storm, you will be just fine. Now, I do want to kind of end the video here because it's a little lengthy with a breach. You guys can see that I have 0 power charges, but you're going to see me go ahead and rack some up. So let's go ahead and do this. So you can see I got 2 charges now. Put them in, and then we just explode everything. Then the build becomes very, very fun. And we can just do breach really, really well. And you can see that I never run out of charges. I'm just going to constantly always have charges through this whole thing, which makes it super great. I'm always going to be at like the 50 seconds. Even if I like fight a few monsters and I decide to like wait to use my power charges, they're still all just going to be there. And again, it just makes it really, really easy when I'm like farming breach. I was going to say, where's some more collapsed hands? And we just explode everything, man. It's so good. I just wish I was faster. That's all. I just wish I was faster. Let's go back to the other side. Come on, give me some more breach. Bang, big explosion. There goes a collapsed hand. Big explosion. Oh my god, look at all the collapsed hands. Nice. Yeah, you guys can see the power charges. I just never run out. I just never, ever run out. More collapse hands. Nice. Breach over, and we got a bunch of juicy loot to pick up. And you can still see I got 3 more. Just use them back to 50. So hopefully this answers a lot of questions, guys. I wanted to bring you an update on the guide because we're kind of basically in the end game for this. There's very small improvements that I can actually make to this build besides leveling. I'm currently level 88. So everything is reflected down in the planner. If you guys have any questions, please comment down below. I'll do my best to answer. Don't forget to like the video. That really helps out with the algorithm. And as always, stay gaming, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.